What's up, Tailgaters? My name is Tailgate Nate. Welcome to my channel and welcome to my Mountain West Conference recap and standings prediction video. You see the lovely standings board over here. The Mountain West no longer has divisions here as we enter 2023, and this is a conference that has a lot of very good teams, a lot of teams I think are going to be right on the edge of bowl game contention. It's going to be a very competitive conference again. I can't wait to tell you guys my thoughts on this conference. But hey, if you haven't been following me all summer, this is the first video of mine you're watching. I'm recapping, predicting, previewing all 133 FBS level college football teams, and we already have 8 conferences done. So if you're a fan of any team in the Power 5 or the American Mountain West, as you see here, or the Sun Belt Conference, you've got a video up. If you're waiting for Mid-American Conference USA predictions, again, whatever you may have, if you want to hear my thoughts during the season, hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, but you can do more than that to help me support my channel. You're doing one right now by watching the video. You can gladly do more if you're willing and able by liking, commenting, sharing, and anything else that you guys are willing and able to do to help me support my channel. But enough about that. Let's talk about the lovely standings board that you see over here. We're going to go from the right-hand side, from all the way down at Hawaii, all the way up to Boise State, and talk about why the team is placed where it is, why the record is kind of the way it is as well. And we'll go through and we will talk about where each team lies. So let's start at the bottom and start with the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors. I've said it all throughout my Mountain West predictions. It's just not a team that I'm super confident in this year. I think Timmy Chang has a long rebuilding process ahead of him here, and that's going to continue in 2023. Just simply not a team I have a lot of faith in. Yes, Braden Shager is coming back at quarterback. There are still some nice pieces there, but you do lose a lot of key contributors defensively on that team as well. I think it's just going to be a struggle bus year for Hawaii. I have them sitting at the bottom of the Mountain West Conference. New Mexico is up here, not sitting at the bottom of the conference. Give it up for the Lobos. This is a step in the right direction. Even though 3-9, still not a great overall record. 1-7, again, not a great overall record at all. You're still towards the bottom of the conference. I do think it's a step in the right direction. Now, 3-9 may not be enough to save Danny Gonzalez's job. However, I think this New Mexico team, yes, they did lose some pieces, but they got an upgrade at the quarterback position. You got a lot of very nice transfers that are coming into this program, offensively and defensively. I think they've added a little bit too much to not get at least one win in conference play this season. I see them taking a tiny step in the right direction this season. I do not think they will finish last in the Mountain West Conference. Nevada is up here at 10th in the conference. And Nevada, quite simply, was one of the worst teams in all of college football last season. It's hard to see them not get better, though. They do have a lot of very solid pieces there, offensively, defensively, do have some nice transfers coming in. So I see Nevada being able to take some steps in the right direction under Ken Wilson. But again, I don't think it's going to be quite enough to be towards the top half of the Mountain West Conference this year. Again, hard to see them not get better in my mind. I think they're definitely going to improve, take some steps in the right direction. I really like what they did in the transfer portal to add talent. But I think the teams in the Mountain West are just a little too competitive and will be a little too much for the Wolfpack this season. Utah State is here at 9th. Now, seeing them at 9th may make you forget that this team actually did win a Mountain West Conference title back in 2021. 2022 was not the season that Aggie fans envisioned, and I also don't think that 2023 is going to be a season that the Aggie fans are going to envision either. Again, still, some really solid pieces are on that team. It is not a bare-bones, dry program at all. However, they do have a lot of tough games in non-conference schedule. If I can remember correctly, Iowa, UConn, and James Madison, I think all 3 of them will be able to beat this team. And who knows, maybe Utah State can just win enough games in Mountain West play to make them a fringe bowl game team. I still really like their head coach, Blake Anderson, and I still think Utah has the opportunity to surprise some people this year, but I do think it's going to be another down year. Utah State continues to fall down. They did lose a lot of key contributors off of that team, and I don't think they added enough to really attribute back from that, so I got them sitting here at 9th. Up next are 2 fringe bowl game teams that, honestly, if you would ask me, hey, do you think these teams are going to make a bowl game this year? Wouldn't surprise me to see either UNLV or Colorado State make a bowl game in 2023. But UNLV is up here first, and I think it's going to come down to that San Jose State game at the end of the year. I think it is a winnable game for them. If they win it, they're in the postseason. If not, maybe not. But it may also not come down to that game. There are a lot of swing games for UNLV on that schedule. I feel they did not end last season how they thought they were, or they did not end last season how a lot of the fan base thought it was going to go. It started out really well and fell off a cliff very, very quickly. I do think UNLV going to be a very solid football team. Barry Odom, first-year head coach. You got some really good assistant coaches and some good talent there as well. Doug Brumfield is coming in, even though you do lose Aiden Robbins in the backfield. Running back room, wide receiver room, still really good. You got some transfers coming in on the defensive side as well. So again, would not shock me to see UNLV make a bowl game, but I do have them falling just short. They're sitting at 5-7. Same thing with Colorado State. They do, again, have a tricky non-conference schedule, which, again, you see their conference record. They're sitting at 500. If they can win one more conference game, or if they can win one more conference game or even win one of their non-conference ones, they're sitting in the postseason. But Colorado State, bringing Jay Norvell in last season, expected maybe a little bit better than they did last year, and I think this team is poised to make a jump this year. Now, again, to me, it is not a bowl game jump yet. I do think the schedule has just too many bumps in the road for this team to do so. But would it surprise me to see them make it? No, not at all. This is a team that is much improved, especially if they give Clay Millen at quarterback a little bit more of an opportunity to work. Who knows what's going to go on with that running back room in Mora with all the legal situations he has going on. But beyond that, it's a defense that played well last year, has a lot of good pieces coming back. Colorado State, again, just shy of a bowl game for me here in 2023, 2024. Maybe we see this team make another big jump as well. Wyoming is sitting down here at 6-6, and I recognize that this could be low for the Cowboys, but you got two Power 5 opponents on the non-conference schedule, and they're two teams I really like, Texas and Texas Tech. App State's going to be no pushover as well. And then you get into conference play, and you just got to play some really, really tough games. But when I take a look at this Wyoming team, again, offensively, can we see maybe a little bit of an improvement for last year? You don't have to see a ton, though, because of what this defense holds. This defense is going to be one of the best units, could be a top 2, if not the best unit the Mountain West Conference has to offer here in 2023. They are loaded on that side of the ball. A lot of returning talent to that team. I just think with some of the teams in the Mountain West this year, the offense might not be enough, but I definitely have them sitting in the top half of the Mountain West Conference this season. Same thing with San Diego State. Now, this defense lost 8 to 9 starters off of this defense last season, but it still, I think, is going to be one of the better units the Mountain West Conference has to see this season, if not that the nation is going to see this season, as it has been in the past. And again, you might say, well, there's nothing remarkable about their offense. Well, they do have to replace a couple pieces. It's an offense that started to find a spark last season. If that spark can continue here into 2023, well, you're going to have yourself a very solid San Diego State team. Definitely a team, I didn't mention this with Wyoming, but definitely a team that can contend for a conference title. Really, any of the top 6 here, I think are teams that you could see in a conference title game. I think they all have it in them. But again, Wyoming, San Diego State, I have falling just short. Same thing with the Air Force Falcons. The reason why, I think they lost a little bit too much offensively. And again, with Air Force, you don't really have use of the portal like you do at some other schools, being a military academy team. Granted, that defense still going to be really, really good this season. There are a lot of key pieces coming back, but Hazik Daniels at quarterback, he is gone. Brad Roberts, the all-world sensational talent at the running back position, he is gone. Your top 2 leading receivers on the team last year, it is the military academy team that likes to throw the ball with the most frequency at Air Force. They are both gone. So you lose a lot off that offense. It's going to be a lot of change to the offense this year, but the defense should still be really, really good, and it's going to place Air Force high in the Mountain West Conference. Moving on to a team that I really think is going to make not necessarily a jump this year, but a team I really think is going to make a push for a conference title game, and that is San Jose State. Now, the defense did lose some good talent, and there is some overhaul going on in the wide receiver room. However, I think the defense has just enough there to be able to keep games close enough for the offense, because that quarterback is Siobhan Cordero, one of the best quarterbacks in the Mountain West Conference. He may very well be second to a quarterback we're going to talk about here in a little bit that wears blue and orange and plays on a blue turf field. If you don't know who I'm talking about, I'll mention his name here in a little bit. But Siobhan Cordero, I think, even with some new pieces in the wide receiver room, has enough there to really, really be able to take over some games, to be able to win some games. And like I said, even though the defense loses a lot, I think there is enough on that defense to be able to keep enough games close for San Jose State's offense to be able to pull it out. I think that's going to be a very talented team this year. Would not surprise me at all to see them in a Mountain West championship game. But I got a rematch from last year. Your second place team in the Mountain West Conference to me are the Fresno State Bulldogs. Now, the story with this team is quite simple. You take a look at that offense from last year and you compare it to the offense from this year, and it's almost two completely different offenses. Jake Haener is gone. You lose a 1,000-yard rusher, a 1,000-yard receiver, and a lot more talent from that team last season. Defense even loses a couple key pieces as well. But just talking about the offense for a second, Mikey Keene is coming over from UCF. He will play the quarterback position this year for Fresno State. There are a lot of very talented transfers that are entering that team as well. So I think next man up with the transfer portal, that sort of mentality, I think is going to work for Fresno State this year. I still think they're going to have a really solid offense, as good as it has been the past couple of years, remains to be seen, right? But, and then again, that defense does have some good, nice pieces coming back, some good pieces coming in through the portal. Fresno State, by virtue of a head-to-head matchup with San Jose State, I think will be in the Mountain West Conference championship game, but I don't think any team in the Mountain West Conference this year compares to the Boise State Broncos. I think this is going to be the best team in this conference, inside and out. They are loaded. Now, the non-conference schedule does have its bumps. UCF is coming in to the Blue Turf Field. You have to go on the road to play Memphis, and your first game of the year is on the road against Washington. There are some tough games there, but this roster is loaded. Taylon Green, that's the quarterback I was talking about earlier. He's the best quarterback in the conference. They have the best skill position room in the entire conference. I still think a top half level defense is on that team too. But on offense alone, I think this team is going to overpower, even with some of the defensive prowess that some of these teams play with in the Mountain West Conference. I think they'll be too much, too overpowering. Boise State I have finishing with an undefeated record in conference play and going to a Mountain West championship game. They're going to look to try to win a Mountain West title for the first time since 2019. They couldn't do it last year. Will they get their revenge against the Fresno State Bulldogs? You'll have to wait to find out my predictions for conference championship games there after all predictions are done. But that's going to do it for my Mountain West preview. Give you a little last look at the standings here while I outro the video. Thank you guys so much for the support on the channel this summer. It means so much. The Mid-American Conference, you are up next for the predictions. They will start tomorrow. Hey, again, remember, guys, don't forget to play hard but tailgate harder. Again, the MAC is coming up next. It's time for Maction, baby. I'll see all you guys tomorrow when we start the Mid-American. Goodbye.